Temperatures in the upper 80s, and we'll keep that trend going through the rest of the week. Richard Wedding of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
It's 90 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Live from the heart of SEC country, this is your daily fix of grit, guts, and gridiron glory. Welcome to the Deep South College Football Show.
Bowen, here it goes! Georgia retakes the lead!
Breaking down the biggest matchups, the boldest takes, and the deepest rivalries in college football on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Intercepted! They confused him! Xavier Brown headed the other way! Touchdown Tide!
From Fayetteville to Gainesville, from the Grove to Toomer's Corner, it's SEC football.
Chambers delivers! Touchdown!
Now, here's your award-winning host, Wyatt Fulton.
Welcome into a Monday edition of the Deep South College Football Show here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports. We're going to talk a little SEC football today here on the program as we'll take a brief pause from preview season. I like to do those on the live stream, and due to some staffing moves this week, Chase is out for the rest till Wednesday. He'll be back on Thursday. So we'll take a brief pause from preview season until Thursday. And right now, we're going to talk a little bit about SEC head coaches. A couple of weeks ago, Chris Lowe put out his SEC head coaching rankings, and we had some questions, some comments, and concerns regarding the SEC head coaching rankings from On3's Chris Lowe here. When you look at the coaches rankings here, sorry, I'm trying to pull up his rankings here so that way I can explain what they were real fast here as I look for Chris Lowe's SEC head coaching rankings. Regardless, we know Kirby Smart is number one. If anybody has anybody other than Kirby Smart number one, doesn't matter who it is, immediately do not take them seriously. Kirby Smart is the number one head coach in the SEC and will be the number one head coach in the SEC until something happens. If that's Sark or Kiffin or DeBoer winning a national title, okay. Sark leaves Kirby leaves the conference because he's off to the NFL or he retires, whatever. Until something happens, Kirby Smart is going to be number one and should remain number one. Multi-time SEC champion, the only SEC head coach on this list with a championship as an SEC head coach. We think about all the teams and players that have competed for SEC titles. Well, if you look at the current makeup of the Southeastern Conference, Kirby Smart's the only one that's won an SEC championship. So I feel like Jackson, we are a little biased towards Georgia, right? You have history with the Dogs, and we've come to grow and learn and love a lot about Georgia, talking with our guy Randy from How About Them Dogs cast and several other Georgia reporters and just getting to see Georgia so often, right? Alabama's played Georgia 24 they played once, 25 they played twice, and they'll play them again in 26. So over the last 2 years, Alabama's played Georgia so much, and we've talked with so many Georgia guys, and I've been to Athens, and you've got a history with Georgia that we've come to appreciate what Georgia brings to the table regarding the SEC and the fact that they're one of the powerhouses in college football. So we might be a little biased towards Georgia. But Jackson, if anybody other than Kirby Smart's number one, whoever's making the list is just a flat-out idiot at that point.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going overall throughout college football head coaching rankings,
I could entertain the conversation.
Yeah, right. But in the SEC, there is yet to be a coach in the current slate of SEC that has beaten Kirby Smart in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So there's that. He's also back-to-back national title winner. He's the closest program to replicate what has been done here in Tuscaloosa, and he's still not at the peak of what it was here in Tuscaloosa. But he's close.
He's close. So if you've got anybody but Kirby Smart number one, you're an idiot and need to stop making lists. Kirby Smart is and will remain number one until something else happens here in the Southeastern Conference. Now, Chris Lowe, he had Steve Sarkisian at number two, and I'm not overly opposed to the conversation of Sark being number two. I get why, right? Texas has been, the new kid on the block, the best thing since sliced bread since Sark took over that program. And when you look at in relation to other SEC head coaches, Lane Kiffin, no conference championships. Okay, so he's not going to be number 2. Mike Elko did some really good things with Texas A&M last season, but didn't win a conference championship during his tenure with the Duke Blue Devils. Heupel's never been to Atlanta. Eli Drinkwitz, and at this point, I don't think we need to go through the rest of this list. Nobody else is even close to being number 2 on this list outside of maybe Steve Sarkisian, Kalen DeBoer, Lane Kiffin, Mike Elko. So Sark being number 2, Whitman just walked in here. Jackson Whitman, I don't hate the conversation of Sark being number 2. I understand if there's pushback, but I'm not as opposed to that as somebody not putting Kirby Smart number 1.
I think I would agree, but I think
I would have Kalen DeBoer number 2, but that's my ranking.
I would also, just because what Kalen DeBoer's been able to do in 2 seasons here at Alabama, is far more impressive than what Sark's been able to do in 5 years. Yeah,
he is going on year number 5.
I mean, all the money, all the talent in the world there, and
21, 22, 23, okay. 24, all right. You made the semifinal. 25, you missed the playoff entirely. I get it with both Sark and DeBoer, right? If you look at what they did prior to their tenure in the SEC, Kalen DeBoer at Washington, Pac-12 championship, national championship appearance, made the college football playoff. Steve Sarkisian, Big 12 title. Big 12 title, conference championship win, first year in the SEC. Now we're getting into the SEC here. Steve Sarkisian made the SEC championship game and was actually pretty close to winning that game because it went to overtime, right? Tied into the fourth quarter there, heading into overtime. Made the semifinals in the college football playoff, and you were a missed blocking assignment away from potentially going and playing for a national championship at that point. Kalen DeBoer, you've made the college football playoff. So one of 5 teams to win a playoff game last year. First one to go do it on the road in the 12-team era of the college football playoff. So to me, 1 is Kirby Smart, 2 or 3, I can listen to the conversation for either of those guys being there, but I think 2 and 3 have to be DeBoer and Sark in some order.
I think you also kind of forgot maybe the biggest argument to DeBoer's resume in comparing those two. Kalen DeBoer is a victor of a football game over Steve Sarkisian in a college football playoff when Sark had a Texas team with Texas talent with an NFL quarterback in Quinn Ewers.
As a matter of fact, he's 2-0 against Sark because they played in, I think, the Alamo Bowl the year prior to that, and so DeBoer still got the better of him.
Not to mention DeBoer also cut off Georgia's home winning streak last season, the only team since 2019 to be able to do that in Kirby Smart's house. Oh, and they beat them the season prior here at home, knocking out a total win streak of 29 games.
Yeah.
Texas played in Athens last year, didn't they?
I believe Texas played Georgia in 24 as well as went to Athens in 25, similar to what Alabama did. And gentlemen, do we remember what happened in those 2 games?
Texas got smacked.
Yeah.
I'm wearing gym shorts, so I don't have a belt on today. But if I did, I would take it off and I'd show you what Kirby did to Sark.
Kirby makes Sark go out in the backyard, pick his own switch, and that's what Kirby beat him with.
Yeah, and overall combined rushing total in those 3 matchups, the SEC title, the one at Texas and the one in Athens, is like 13 yards.
So, all that to say, Chris Lowe, we had a little bit of an issue with your ranking. I can listen to the conversation about Sark at 2, but my biggest issue came with Lane Kiffin being at number 3. The hell has Lane Kiffin won as a head coach?
The Egg Bowl.
Oh no, he was at FAU. Can anyone tell me what FAU did under Lane Kiffin? Do we remember did FAU win a conference championship? I'm legitimately asking because I don't remember this.
I think they went 10-2 one year.
Okay, so 10-2 1 year. You did it at FAU. Congratulations. You get to Ole Miss and get your popcorn ready. Oh, no, wait, you got your ass beat by 3 touchdowns that year.
He did bring them from rags to riches.
You got your butt whipped against any time you played Alabama, whether it be in Oxford or in Tuscaloosa. You never made a conference championship game. You never made the college football playoff, but congratulations, you beat the tar out of Penn State in the Peach Bowl.
He did beat Georgia.
Beat Georgia one time.
You're talking like this dude didn't throw a clipboard 30 yards in the air. I mean, That's got to mean something, right?
He can chuck a clipboard with the best of them. He can also, never mind, not going to go that way or that route.
Dangerous LSU is with him and Coach O in the same staff.
I was going to say, man, a lot of hot yoga studios in Baton Rouge. A lot of them down in Baton Rouge. Like twice as many more as are in Oxford.
No, like 3 or 4 times. I saw a tweet.
I saw that same graphic. It's like 3 or 4 times
Oxford,
more.
15 or 20 in LSU.
Yeah.
Does that metric count just walking outside in Louisiana?
I mean, it should. It's miserable down there.
True. Indoor hot yoga may be the dumbest thing to ever come to the state of Louisiana. You could set up a food bank or a library. If you want hot yoga in Louisiana, dare I say, take a walk.
Do it on the quad.
I would say you can do it. Well, not with Lane Kiffin there. We can't do that with Lane Kiffin on campus.
He would fund it.
He would. He absolutely. And Coach O would be right there with him. But LSU's not too fond of building libraries. So because LSU's not too fond of building libraries, so they're gonna instead invest in more hot yoga studios, and the governor's gonna pay to bring that tiger back down onto the field for the Alabama game this year. And LSU, they got more important things to worry about than academics. We're not coming to the SEC to play school. We're coming to the SEC to play football here. So Chris Lowe's ranking had Kirby Smart number 1, Steve Sarkisian number 2, Lane Kiffin number 3. Okay. Kalen DeBoer 4, Mike Elko 5, Josh Heupel 6, Eli Drinkwitz 7, and to round out the top half of the SEC, he had Clark Lee at number 8. Well, we're going to talk more SEC head coaching rankings here, but we're going to do it with somebody else, somebody from the same network, or at least same affiliation with the network, because Josh Pate put out his SEC head coach rankings, and I actually agree with Pate's list so much more than I do Chris Lowe. So we'll talk about what Pate had to say when it comes to his SEC head coaching rankings list, as we are off and running on a Monday edition of the Deep South College Football Show right here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for Alabama Crimson Tide sports.
What does it mean to advertise and do your marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa? Melissa started her business in 2014. What would you say to someone considering Town Square Media Tuscaloosa?
My experience with Town Square Media has been awesome, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone. I think that this is the first time in my marketing experience that I've been able to see my return on investment. I would definitely say in the past that has not been the case. In this, I like knowing that that's 100%. A lot of the marketing we've done has been radio. You guys have so much more to offer than that, whether it's, websites, from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more,
Or visit mezwins.com. I've got this.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Here's your Tuscaloosa and West Alabama forecast this afternoon. Stay weather aware. It feels hot and breezy around 90 with a southwest wind at 5 to 10. Showers and thunderstorms become likely, carrying the threat for damaging winds. Tonight we cool to 72 as storms fade away. Tuesday and Wednesday warm. Chance for storms. Daytime temperatures in the upper 80s, and we'll keep that trend going through the rest of the week. Richard Wedding of the Weather Channel for Town Square Media Tuscaloosa.
It's 90 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Follow the Crimson Tide on their journey to another national championship.
Touchdown, Alabama!
On your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We're talking SEC head coaching rankings here on the Deep South College Football Show. Josh Pate put out his, and as we stated in the first segment, any list ranking SEC head coaches, you got to look at number 1, because if number 1 is wrong, you can immediately ignore that list and move on with your day. So number 1 needs to always be Kirby Smart out of Georgia, at least until somebody else in the SEC wins an SEC championship or a national title. Then we can maybe have a conversation. But nobody has. So, number 1 on Josh Pate's list, Kirby Smart. out of Athens, Georgia, out of the University of Georgia, multi-time SEC champion, two-time back-to-back college football playoff national champion, the last SEC team to win a national championship, and he's been in the SEC championship every season since 2021. You cannot put anybody else at number one except for Kirby Smart. So good job, Josh Pate. We can take your list seriously now that you got number one correct. Number two is also my number two, Kalen DeBoer at the University of Alabama. And we talked about this with Chris Lowe's ranking a couple of weeks ago and here in this first segment. When you look at everything that Kalen DeBoer has done, all right, coming from the Sioux Falls ranks, and a lot of people say, you got to work, you got to pay your dues, right? Well, that's not necessarily the case, right? A lot of coaches, we don't see them come from the bottom feeder conference or the bottom feeder affiliations, right? You very rarely see a coach go from NAIA to Division I. A lot of times you may have a D2 to D1 jump, or you're starting at a G5 and you work your way to a Power 4 school. Or most of the time how this works is you get a GA job at a Division I program, at a Power 4 program immediately out of college. You become an offensive analyst. You become a position coach. You become the offensive coordinator. Same thing for the defensive side of the ball. And then you become a head coach, right? So very rarely do you see a coach actually become a head coach at NAIA level and then become a D1 or a D. No, DeBoer went D2 first, I believe.
Ridiculously fast, mind you.
Right. I mean, he was the OC at Indiana in 2019. 3 years later, he's a head coach at Washington.
The rate in which he went from Sioux Falls to Washington is quicker than most guys go from GA to P4 head coach.
Right.
Quicker than most guys go from position coach to G4 head coach. He started out coaching Sioux Falls. He could have been like Bill Russell in the 60s and been a player coach on those teams.
Yes.
Very impressive by him.
He was the head coach at Sioux Falls in 2009. In 2010, he became the offensive coordinator at Southern Illinois, which I'm going to go out and venture is a D2 program. I'm going to go ahead and get out there on the limb and say that's D2. 3 years later, Eastern Michigan, another D2 program. He's the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. 2017, he makes the Division I jump, becoming the offensive coordinator and QB coach at Fresno State. 2019, he's the OC at Indiana with Michael Penix. 2020, he becomes a head coach for the first time since his days at Sioux Falls. 11 years later, he has become a Division I head coach. From the moment he decided to leave Sioux Falls, he becomes a Division I head coach 11 years later at Fresno State. 2022, he's the head coach at Washington. So 12, 13 years after leaving Sioux Falls, where you were a three-time champion, by the way, running that program, 12, 13 years later, you are now a Power 4 head coach. The next year, you're competing for a college football playoff national championship at UW. The year after that, 15 years after he decided to leave Sioux Falls to become a Power Conference person, I guess, coordinator, coach, whatever you want to call it there, 14 to 15 years later, you're named the head coach at the University of Alabama. That is like Saban just won his first national championship at Alabama at the moment DeBoer decided to leave Sioux Falls. And now Kalen DeBoer is the one that follows Nick Saban. And by the way, has done a pretty damn good job. The cupboard was pretty bare when he took over for Saban. Went 9-3. Did lose the bowl game to Michigan when they had one passing yard in the second half. But I don't necessarily put all of that on DeBoer. Year number 2. You snap Georgia's win streak. You snap Georgia's home win streak that had been in place since you were the offensive coordinator at Indiana. Pre-COVID. You win 10 ball games in the regular season. You compete for an SEC championship, which a lot of people argue is harder to win than a national championship based on what you have to play to even get to Atlanta. And then more than likely the team you do face in Atlanta being Georgia. You become one of 5 teams to win a playoff game. You become the first team to win a playoff game on the road, and you go play in the Rose Bowl. I feel like that's pretty damn impressive from Kalen DeBoer. So he's number 2 on Josh Pate's list here. Number 3, he's got Steve Sarkisian at the University of Texas. And again, I'm not disrespecting Sark. Sark has had a really, really good run as well. And I'm actually very proud of Sark for the fact that he overcame a lot of stuff that a lot of people do not overcome, right? It's been very well documented, alcohol problem he's had, or he did have at one point in his life. So the fact that he has overcome that, he has been a Power 4 head coach / coordinator at multiple different stops. The fact that he overcame that and is now a very successful college football head coach at the University of Texas, you got to give props and you got to be proud of him for that. Was the offensive coordinator at Alabama when they won the national championship in 2020, took over as interim for Lane Kiffin when Lane Kiffin couldn't get his head on straight for one more game at the University of Alabama. Was the offensive coordinator for an NFL team in the Atlanta Falcons, and then you come back to Bama, and then you take over as the head coach at Texas, where you've won a couple of bowl games. You won a Big 12 championship. You competed for an SEC championship your first year in the conference. You are tied for the furthest that an SEC team has gone in the 12-team era, right? Sarkisian was in the semifinals against Ohio State. The only other SEC team that's made a semifinal game is Ole Miss, and they lost on a last-second play against the Miami Hurricanes. So you're one of two SEC teams that have played in the semifinal in the 12-team era. You've got to give credit where credit is due there. And again, looking at this list here, he's the only head coach on this, or he's one of two head coaches. No, excuse me. He's the only head coach on this list that has coached in a semifinal game in the 12-team era of the college football playoff.
You know, he gets a lot of flack for underperforming at Texas. Has he won a championship? No. But I think you could make this argument about both Sark at Texas and DeBoer at Alabama. They're not just performing against what people expect out of those programs. They're performing against what people expect out of them to do at those programs.
Yes.
That's kind of clouded in a lot, but he's not just coaching to bring Texas back. He's coaching to bring Texas back with the eyes of everybody in the sport breathing down his neck, seeing if he can do it.
Right.
He's not just trying to win. He's playing for something more than most coaches are coaching for. DeBoer's not just here to win games. He's here to win games for this fan base and for these boosters and in this stadium with
all this pressure.
Yes. It's like being a Yankee in the World Series. Like you could be playing for the Astros or the Dodgers, but it's different when you put on the pinstripes and play for the Yankees.
Yes.
Coaching at Texas or coaching at Alabama, you're not just coaching football games. You're coaching for the legacy that has preceded this school for 150 years. You're coaching for your life, essentially, because if you lose at Alabama, I mean, there are coaches that coached in Tuscaloosa. I wouldn't walk through the streets.
No. If I'm Mike Shula, I'm never coming back to Tuscaloosa.
No. Because in any other walk of life or in any other place on earth, you're a celebrity, you're a big-time former ball coach. Hey, at least I'd sit there and pick your brain, even if you were a bad head coach at my school. If you're at Alabama,
right.
No, go get me my pitchfork. Somebody find me lighter fluid. I'm getting my torch ready. This dude's got to go.
If I'm Mike Shula, I don't get any closer to Tuscaloosa than Birmingham. Right, I'm getting to green, like I'm coming from the south, and I'm in Greensboro, and I'm starting to get a little skittish at that point. An hour outside of town,
maybe Bessemer,
maybe.
Like once you pick up our broadcast,
once you hit that Love's gas station in Lakeview, that's as close as you can get.
That means Pat knows you're here, and that's bad.
You can't get any closer than that. Yeah, no. Even from the other, like Starkville, I'm not getting any closer than Starkville, and that's an hour and a half from Tuscaloosa. If I'm Mike Shula at that point. Number 4, he's got Mike Elko, who has done a really, really good job at Texas A&M. There, did a lot of really good things with Duke. Remember, he was the former defensive coordinator at Texas A&M prior to taking the Duke job. So he understands College Station. He was a coordinator under Jimbo Fisher when Texas A&M was actually having a good defense. Mike Elko left, and Texas A&M's defense became Swiss cheese.
So he was also there when Jimbo pulled that ungodly recruiting class.
He was part of that ungodly recruiting class.
That would make sense, seems, as they're pretty much now due for another.
Yeah, they're back at it here. But Elko, Texas A&M has got this Texas 8-4 moniker, right? This Texas 8-4. They're going to recruit all these players. They're going to get the number 1 recruiting class. They're going to have 5 stars out the wazoo in College Station. Still going to find a way to go 8-4. And that's what they did for so long under Kevin Sumlin and Jimbo Fisher and the interims in and around those programs during those 2 tenures there. But Mike Elko, again, he's been there 1 year. You got to give him a bit of a caveat and make sure he can do it consistently, considering he's been there, 1 season, and has only coached against the bottom half of the SEC and the one SEC team that wasn't a bottom feeder you lost to in Texas. Or he's been there 2 seasons. He's been there 2 seasons now. But like the one team that you can't beat is your in-state rival. So that's a bit of a knock on Mike Elko there. But even still, you went 11-1. You started to shake off that Texas 8-4 moniker that you've got at that program. It's going to be a lot tougher to do it this season because you're not going to be playing the bottom half of the SEC. You're playing LSU. You're playing Alabama.
That's so lucky.
You're playing Oklahoma and Texas.
How did that happen? I mean, I want to know. I want one of these guys whose jobs is just to crunch the most absurd numbers ever. What are the odds of playing an 8-game schedule and 7 of the 8 conference teams you play are the bottom 8 in the league?
Yeah,
has that ever happened?
I'm sure. Well, I don't know that it necessarily has happened. Yeah, but Texas played Georgia and they got their butt spanked. So, and Georgia's not finished in the bottom half of the SEC.
Well, I guess you could say it hasn't because of divisions for so long.
I was going to say the SEC East was so weak for so long that
it kind of was a given you'd play the bottom 8 teams.
Right. It was like if we rank these 1 through 16, guess what? Florida, you're going to be playing, 7 of the teams in your side of the conference there outside of Georgia. They're going to be bottom feeders. Hey, Georgia, guess what? Well, I guess we were at 14 teams at the time, so 6 out of 7 at that point because you got to play Georgia at that point. And Mark Richt and Kirby Smart. Say what you want about Mark Richt. He never had Georgia in the bottom half of the SEC. He at least was winning at a very high level, and it took some balls on Georgia to fire that man and go get Kirby Smart, realizing, hey, I've got a really good head coach here. He's going to win 9-10 games every single year. May not compete for a national championship, but we're going to be a 9-10 win program every single year. We can get better. We can go get a guy that's better than that. Took some stones on Georgia's athletic department to go make that move and pinpoint your guy in Kirby Smart and say, he's the one that's better than that. We can go get him. We can pull him away from Nick Saban in Alabama, where he's been with Saban since Saban got to Tuscaloosa 7-8 years ago. So, but Mike Elko, number 4, I got no issues with Josh Pate's top 4. 5 gets a little interesting. 5 gets a little interesting because I almost think I'd put 6 above his number 6 guy above his number 5 guy. And I'm really interested to see you guys' take on this here because I'd almost put number 6 on this list ahead of number 5. If you remove the team, like the logos and the mindset around these teams, I probably would put number 6 ahead of number 5. Who the hell are these guys? We'll talk about it on the other side. Here on Tide 100.9, 1230 AM WTBC. We're off and running again. Halftime break here on the Deep South College Football Show on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Today at boostmobile.com/unlock. Based on average annual single line payment of AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile customers compared to 12 months on the Boost Mobile Unlimited Wireless Plan as of January 2026. For full offer details, visit boostmobile.com.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
Alabama Weather Network meteorologist James Spann tells us there is a slight 2 and 5 risk for strong to severe thunderstorms later today.
There could be a brief isolated tornado. The main concern with these storms, strong gusty straight line winds.
The main threat timeline between 3 and 9. Gas prices continue to drop. In Tuscaloosa, the average is $3.46 a gallon, down 15 cents over last week. Aaliyah is yet to officially confirm reports a 19-year-old male, 22-year-old female died just before 1 this morning when their vehicle left Crescent Ridge Road and crashed into a ravine. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more news. I'm Don Hartley.
The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Back to the Deep South College Football Show. Hey, if you want to jump into the conversation, you can do so by calling 205-342-9904. Again, 205-342-9904, or download that Tide 100.9 app. Hit that little chat with us option right there on the front page and send us an app message there. We'll read that out here on the airwaves here on the station. Let's jump out of the phone lines. Let's talk with Pat in Tuscaloosa. Pat, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing really fantastic because I just read where several of the top recruiting analysts in the country are now calling Bama sales, and they're not using the word moonshine. They're calling him Bama sales again. But, hey, I like that. Bama sales again. We ought to coin that phrase.
He's a good one, man. If Alabama can pull it off, you'd love it from an Alabama perspective.
Well, if they pull it off, I can forgive them for having a top 20 recruiting class.
Pat, we knew this class was going to be small no matter what.
I know what the issues are, but I'm making a joke, man. Come on, gotta lighten this thing up. Getting used to a number 20 recruiting class is a hard pill to chew.
It is. It's a tough pill to swallow. But, I mean, look, man. Like, they got 9 returning guys. I mean, it is what it is, you know. The guy can't recruit. We should have known that. People been yelling that at us for the last 2 years.
He couldn't recruit.
People been telling us that for 2 years.
Recruit. Yeah, they've been telling us that for 2 years. Good Lord. We were told that. I mean, we knew what we was getting when we went and got him. And he couldn't recruit. I mean, you know, he's only brought in 2 elite 11 quarterbacks, and now looks like a strong possibility of bringing in the number one overall ranked wide receiver.
It'd be nice, man. It'd be nice. I still think there's some work they got to do in this recruitment, though. I think they got a lot of work still left.
I mean, yeah, Hayes not in the barn, I don't think. But
Hayes not in the barn. Hayes not in the barn until December. Even if you get a commitment in July.
Exactly.
Jared Curtis being the prime example.
I am excited about that. Things looks brighter than it did 2 weeks ago.
It does, and you've got some other kids that are going to be announcing decisions here this week and next week. Andrew Bone was on with Christian Miller, and he said over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you're going to learn a lot about this Alabama recruiting class. Some of these silent commitments that Kalen DeBoer had mentioned might be ready to go public with their announcement over the next couple of weeks, which would be really nice for the perception of this recruiting class because, Pat, they sit number 67 right now. And as much as the young kids like to make the joke, that's not a good number.
No. I mean, and now, hey, and like I said, we could potentially, I'm hoping for a top 15. I mean, that would save a little bit of face, but, I mean, we got to be prepared for a number 20 overall recruiting class. You understand what I'm saying?
Got to be prepared for it, man. Got to be prepared for it. But only 9 seniors on this roster. Like, it makes sense that Alabama's not taking a big class this go around because you don't really have space for all these guys. You don't really have space for another 20-person class.
Yeah. And, man, there was a Mustang just went around me like I'm making 55 miles an hour, and they run around me like I was standing still.
Maybe it's Monchon Sales racing to the facility to give us a verbal commitment to Alabama.
I hope it's. It looks like an Alabama football player car. I'm hoping it's not.
Well, let's hope not. I don't need the Georgia Bulldog activities to be making their way to Tuscaloosa, Pat. Exactly. I like an off season.
Exactly.
I like getting some time to chill out before football season starts.
Right, and without any bad things happening. I tell you what, though, I feel a whole lot better about our offensive line. I've got to see them recently, most all of them in person, and I'm a big boy, as you well know, but they made me feel small. I got some big jokers on that line, Pat. Some big dudes. Oh yeah. Big guys, and Michael Proctor was with them too, and he is one huge human being. Now Bob Baumhauer, have you ever met Bob Baumhauer in person and shook hands with him?
I have not.
He has some of the biggest hands of a human being. I got a huge paw, I really do, and Bob Baumhauer's hands swallow mine. And you can see why he played so many years on that defensive line with the Dolphins. But Bob's a big guy too, but I'm excited about this offensive line. I think we're going to come together, and I think that potential they can get that center position nailed down, and because everything starts with the center. The center touches the ball on every play nearly, and that we got to get everything together on this deal, and that I'm excited. How about you?
I think this offensive line's got the potential. Now, I do caution you, Pat. Don't be ready to crown, this the Joe Moore award-winning offensive line. It's going to take time, and this offensive line. I mean, so ironically, I previewed the offensive line today. We've been doing position previews and predictions on the website for the last couple of days, and I've tried to get one out every weekday. So today was offensive line day. Pat, I wrote over 2,000 words about this offensive line, and
if we can get a solid B, as in Boyd B. If we can get a solid B performance out of this group, we can go to the national title. I ain't saying we can win it, but we can go to it.
I think you need a lot of pieces to come. You need a lot of pieces to come together correctly if that's going to happen, Pat. And the offensive line is one of the biggest pieces. That's your corner piece right there. If you're putting together a puzzle, that's your corner piece. You cannot figure out any part of this puzzle unless you've got those four corners, and that's what the offensive line is for Alabama right now.
Yep. Cornerstone. All right. Hey, you have a blessed afternoon, sir. I'm going to pick up the kids for Taekwondo Karate.
We appreciate you, Pat. Have a good one, brother.
All right. Bye-bye.
That's Pat in Tuscaloosa right there. We'll stick with the phone lines. Let's head on down to Louisiana. Let's talk with Digger down in Louisiana. What's going on, man?
Well, I was doing fine until about 5 minutes ago. My flight was canceled. So I'm scrambling around to find another flight out of NYC to get back home. But let me start with this. I would love to have whatever Pat is smoking. Holy cow.
It must be pretty good.
It must be good. It's got to be meth. Gotta be meth. Come on. Now, first of all, I'm being serious. Prepare yourself that Bama sales is not going to be coming. Prepare yourself. I mean, we got the inside track.
Well, man, that's the worst news I've heard all week.
Texas and Indiana. So it is a huge NIL play, and they've shown they don't want to put up the money. Okay?
Well, now how am I going to live if Bama doesn't land this 17-year-old's verbal commitment?
Right. So I mean,
I might as well cancel my radio show.
What am I hearing about this DeBoer being number 2? What? What am I hearing here? Are you kidding me? Never mind the eggs he's laid against Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Florida State. I mean, come on. Seriously? And when you do play Georgia, you get hammered?
What?
Oh, crap.
You know all about that. You know all about that.
Sarkisian, I know that. That's my
It happens
point.
in multiple sports, too, by the way.
Sarkisian has a better SEC record, and we're losing on the road against higher-ranked teams. We're not laying eggs against Vanderbilt, okay?
Except when you play Florida.
I'll say, how's the Swamp?
And again, so we laid an egg against Florida, and you laid an egg against Florida State. It's all in the same state. Come on. It is what it is. But,
I am going to give Texas credit because they were the only team last year's bowl season to beat a non-SEC and non-G5 team. You did a really good job beating the Predator and Sharon Moore.
Come on, that was a shell of a Michigan team, and that bowl game was a piece of crap. But we showed up for it, okay? End of story. My point is that we would have been favored in about 8 of the 9 playoff teams last year. Vegas even said that.
You were also favored over Florida.
3 of them, what do you do? So, so we got punished for playing a harder schedule, and then that's what you get. So trust me.
You got punished for losing to Florida.
Very difficult.
You got punished for losing to Florida. It's not for playing the harder schedule.
I mean, y'all keep saying that, but guess what? It was a third loss. Any game you lose, any 3 you lose, you're out.
It was actually your second loss. Your third loss was that beatdown you took in Athens.
35-10?
Athens on the road, and we weren't even favored. So it is what it is.
Bama went on the road in Athens, wasn't even favored, and walked out with the win.
I mean, you let Dan Jackson
And what happened in the SEC
catch an onside
championship
kick.
game?
The same thing that happened to Texas in the SEC championship game. We both lost to Georgia.
So you know, if you had played Georgia later in that season, you would have got hammered. It is what it is. You had a good 5-6 games in front, and you went 8-1.
8-1.
Did good.
Yeah.
Okay.
2-point loss to
That
Oklahoma.
doesn't warrant you being the second best coach in the SEC. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen.
You got to look at the whole body of the picture.
I was going to say,
you
if
got
you
to
look at
paint the whole picture.
If you look at the whole body of work, Kalen DeBoer took over a Washington team that was 3-9 the year prior, went 10-2, and then the next year was in the national championship.
And he took over an Alabama program following the greatest head coach of all time. You think any other coach would have brought them back to the SEC title or in contention for a playoff spot?
You're not off the hook on saying y'all had the best roster in the nation that year, too. Y'all ran your mouth. Y'all were covering everything, and you know the turnover was high, but y'all refused to acknowledge that until the second, third year later. So, but listen, they're calling me. I got to get this airline ticket done. I'll let you go.
Good luck with Southwest out there in New York. Lord, were we saying that this was still a loaded roster? Were we saying that this was still the best roster in college football? I feel like I wasn't, but I don't control the other 6 people that host shows on this radio station.
I mean, there were definitely people in the Bama media sphere saying this is going to be the best offense in the country. And I mean, you had reason to believe that.
You did, right? Jalen Milroe, Heisman finalist, or damn near a Heisman finalist the year prior.
Ryan
Williams, freshman campaign. Jeremy Bernard as a consistent weapon from. I mean, he was fourth fiddle to the 3 800-yard receivers that UW had, and he still got 600 yards receiving.
Caden
Proctor back
from his stint in Iowa.
Yeah, Caden Proctor came back. You still had some reliable weapons, or at least what appeared to be reliable weapons in the offseason, and Jam Miller and Justice Haynes in 2024.
You also had, who was the running back that transferred to Florida State after that season?
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Roydell Williams.
Yep.
You still had Roydell. That was that the end? No, that wasn't the end of the Jace McClellan era. Jace was the year prior because he left after they lost to Michigan in the Rose Bowl. But even still, right, you had reliable weapons in Jam and Justice. Again, this is all off-season talk. It's what we're doing now, right? When we get 2-3 years down the line, we may point out and say, hey, yeah, calling Cam Coleman the savior of Texas's offense probably was a stupid thing to say at the time, or probably was stupid to say in hindsight. But we don't have the benefit of hindsight right now. Right now, we're looking at the 2026 edition of these teams. And right now, on paper, a lot of these offenses look like they're going to be pretty prolific next season.
Yeah, I think Texas's offense, Georgia's offense. I mean, we saw what Mike Bobo was able to do with 3 years with Aaron Murray.
Yeah.
Now he's got Gunnar Stockton, who's fits in that same category as Aaron
Georgia
Murray.
won a national title with Stetson Bennett at quarterback.
Right.
And no disrespect to Stetson, no disrespect to the mailman, but I feel like Gunnar's probably better.
Yes. Despite Stetson Bennett, was he a Heisman runner-up?
Finalist. I think he finished third or fourth that year.
Because Max Duggan was second. He was third.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. Okay. But even still, like I feel like Gunnar Stockton is a better quarterback than Stetson Bennett.
Yeah, I would agree.
So if Stetson Bennett can go win a national championship, again, no disrespect, he did it twice. If he can go win a national championship, feel like Gunnar Stockton could probably do it too at Georgia. You just got to get some good play out of some other guys on that roster. And for the love of God, Mike Bobo, please call good games for like 4 or 5 in a row. And I guarantee you Georgia will be playing for a national championship. If all that comes together, if Georgia's playing at its peak, nobody in this sport can beat Georgia.
Aaron Murray still holds the SEC passing records.
He does.
Mike Bobo was his OC.
He holds the SEC passing records in an era where passing the football was frowned upon in the SEC.
Especially at Georgia, yeah.
Especially at Georgia with the guys that they had. Todd Gurley. I mean, that era of SEC football was like, you get the most game manager quarterback ever, and you just let your Heisman finalist running back carry you to the promised land, or you find a wide receiver that can take a screen 70 yards on any given play, and suddenly you let your Heisman finalist wide receiver do all the work. You just need a quarterback that can hit somebody who's 10 yards open about 40 yards down the field. We'll wrap up the loose ends on the other side here on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Monday edition of The Game, we'll recap another busy weekend of recruiting on the campus of the University of Alabama. We'll talk to Drew DeArmond. We'll talk to Martin Houston starting at 2 p.m. on The Game with Ryan Fowler on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest-running sports talk show in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2.
Once all the tickets are sold, you don't have to be present to win. To purchase tickets, Venmo at Brandon-Massengale or bring cash to Jess Sumner at Cypress Supply.
Catch every game and every moment right here. This is your home of Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Looking back here at Josh Pate's rankings, as we got about 3 minutes left in the program here, he's got Lane Kiffin at 5 and Clark Lee at 6. Now, again, Lane Kiffin is, he throws clipboards and does hot yoga and tweets, so he's the best coach ever in the eyes of numerous media members. But Clark Lee at number 6 here, if you remove the logos, I almost wonder if it's justifiable to put Clark Lee ahead of Lane Kiffin. Clark Lee did damn near the same thing Lane Kiffin did at Ole Miss.
You're kind of making the argument, like, junior version of, is Cignetti the best coach in the country? Junior.
Okay.
Junior. Like,
explain that to me.
Kurt Cignetti being the best coach in the country. That's your Budweiser right there.
Okay.
Is Clark Lee better than Lane Kiffin? That's your Bud Light.
Okay.
Junior version. Cignetti went and won a national title at the bottom feeder of bottom feeders in college football.
Yes.
Clark Lee went 10-2 in the SEC with the bottom feeder of bottom feeders at the conference.
Right.
Didn't have the, God, I can't believe I'm saying this, didn't have the talent pool that Indiana had, in other words, budget, and is not as good of a coach. But still, what he was able to do in what seems like such a short time now. He's been there longer than Cignetti.
He got hired in 2020. Like the end of the 2020 season is when Clark Lee took over at Vanderbilt.
He's been there for a while.
Yeah.
But you were never going to build Vanderbilt into anything without NIL. Like, that's just a given.
No.
And that's not an insult. That's just the way it is. Cignetti got his guy in Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
And the light version. Clark Lee had his guy in Diego Pavia.
Right.
I think there are a lot of similarities. I think Cignetti took it, obviously, 10 steps further than Clark Lee did.
Right. Cignetti went nuclear with it.
But
Clark Lee's just got a little bomb.
To an extent, Clark Lee did about as good a job as anybody could have rebuilding, but it wasn't rebuilding because it was never built in the first place. Building Vanderbilt. Right. So that's my argument. I think there's a case to be made that Cignetti's the best coach in the country.
Right.
You've still got to deal with Kirby Smart, and I am not mad at all if you go Cignetti or you go Kirby.
I think that the longer we get removed from Kirby's 2 titles, the more I'm willing to listen to the conversation. Now, if Kirby goes out and wins number 3, we're right back into Kirby is 1. If you don't have Kirby at 1. Yeah, Kirby's at 1. If you don't put Kirby at 1, you're an idiot. But I'm not willing to call you just a flat-out idiot if you don't have Kirby Smart at number 1 in the country right now.
Okay, if let's say Sig goes 8-4 this year at Indiana, and Kirby makes it to the national title game but loses,
it's Kirby. It's still Kirby at that point, which is why I'm really interested to see what happens with these 2 coaches to get back to the SEC, Lane Kiffin and Clark Lee here. Because if Clark Lee does lead Vanderbilt, who lost a lot of stuff and is starting a true freshman quarterback, if he leads Vanderbilt to, I'd argue, even an 8-4 record, 9-3 this season, and Lane Kiffin kind of sputters and you're not. If they match, I think you've got to put Clark Lee above Lane Kiffin now.
But I mean, I would agree. And think about it. He has Vanderbilt.
He did it at Vandy.
Right. Exceeding more than Mississippi State, Kentucky, some of these other programs in the SEC that have, they've been bottom feeders, but they've fluctuated in between that.
He did what Lane Kiffin can't do and beat Alabama.
Yes.
Number 1 Alabama walked into Nashville, and 60 minutes later, and a whole hell of a lot of announcing from that in-stadium PA, who I'm not excited to go back and listen to that guy again this year. No offense to him. Just something about the voice. He was really excited. But, man, if they match this year, I'm putting Clark Lee above Lane Kiffin.
I think Kiffin's got to have at least 2 more wins for it to be
definitive.
Yeah. If they're within reach of each other, one's got a true freshman quarterback, the other one's got a Heisman contender.
Yeah.
One's got smart people in their school. The other one's got one of the 2 or 3 best talent pools in the country to work with. One's got the stadium in Nashville. The other one's got Death Valley. Right now, Clark Lee's making a good argument to be above Kiffin.
He's got a really good case, and if they match this year, I'd be willing to make the argument. That'll do it for us today here on the program. Coming up next,